All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We always try to dig into topics that you probably spend some time thinking about already. And today, well, today it's something I think we all ponder. Success.
Yeah, success, achievement. How do we get there?
And you always hear it's about hard work, right? Like, just buckle down, push through, you'll eventually reach that goal.
Right, the classic narrative, the grit, the hustle.
What if it's not that straightforward? I mean, does it all really boil down to just effort?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
This deep dive is inspired by a really interesting source. La paradoja de éxito es suerte o trabajo duro. In English, that translates to the paradox of success is luck or hard work. So we're going to explore that paradox. How do these things as synonyms, your hard work, your talent, but also luck, your circumstances, all play into the bigger picture of success?
I think a lot of us have probably felt that tension at some point, right? Where we question how much control we actually have.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to tackle that head on. We're going to look at the research, the arguments, and hopefully give you some new insights to think about. Maybe even challenge some of those deeply held beliefs.
Sounds like a plan.
So let's start with what feels like the most familiar ground, the things we often think of as the cornerstones of success. Personal effort, hard work, dedication. That's where the source really begins its exploration too. It places a lot of emphasis on continuous learning.
Yeah, constantly building your skills, expanding your knowledge base.
Right. And it doesn't have to be just formal education. It could be self-teaching, seeking out mentors, even just diving into new experiences to gain practical skills.
It's about being a lifelong learner, always pushing yourself beyond your current comfort zone.
Exactly. And you know what I found interesting? The source argues that this constant learning actually increases your luck surface area.
Luck surface area, that's an interesting way to put it.
Right. So the more skills you develop, the more diverse your knowledge is, the more likely you are to recognize an unexpected opportunity when it presents itself. It's like you've got all these different tools in your toolkit, ready to be used in ways you might not have even imagined.
Makes sense. The more prepared you are, the more adaptable you are, the more likely you are to catch those lucky breaks.
Exactly. And the source also spends a good deal of time on discipline and organization.
Yeah, the nitty-gritty of actually putting in the work.
Right. It emphasizes things like effective time management, setting clear goals, both short-term and long-term, and actually tracking your progress.
It's easy to get caught up in the big dreams, the vision board aspirations. But without the discipline to show up consistently, to break those big goals down into manageable steps.
Yeah, without that structure and consistent action, it's easy to lose momentum.
It's like having all the ingredients for a delicious meal, but no recipe to follow.
Now, I think we both know that no matter how organized you are, how dedicated you are, the path to success is rarely a smooth upward climb. There could be bumps along the way.
Absolutely. Setbacks are inevitable.
And the source really digs into the idea of resilience. How do you bounce back from those disappointments, those failures? It's more than just picking yourself up and dusting yourself off, right?
It's about learning from those experiences, analyzing what went wrong, identifying what you can do differently next time.
So it's not about simply repeating the same actions and hoping for a different result. It's about adapting your approach based on the feedback you've received.
It's about embracing what the article calls a growth mindset.
Yeah, that idea that your abilities aren't fixed, that you can continue to learn and grow throughout your lives.
Versus a fixed mindset where you believe your talents are predetermined.
Right. With a growth mindset, those challenges, those setbacks, they become valuable opportunities for you to develop new skills and strengthen your resilience.
And the article emphasizes that this mindset is absolutely crucial for navigating the ups and downs of any journey towards success.
Okay, so we've talked about continuous learning, discipline, resilience. Now let's shift gears a bit because the source also highlights something that's often overlooked when we talk about success:
What's that?
innovation and creativity.
Yeah.
In today's world, it's not enough to just be good at what you do.
Right.
Things are changing so rapidly.
You've got to be able to adapt, think outside the box, come up with new solutions.
Exactly. It's about being able to see things from a different perspective, to challenge conventional thinking, to really push boundaries.
And this isn't just for artists or inventors, it's essential in every field.
Right. Think about any industry that's been disrupted in recent years. Those who are able to innovate, to see the potential in new technologies or approaches, they're the ones who thrive.
Absolutely. And the source argues that this creativity is closely linked to initiative and proactivity. It's not enough to just wait for opportunities to come knocking. You've got to be out there creating your own.
Taking calculated risks, seeking out ways to improve, constantly pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone.
But it is important to emphasize the calculated part of taking risks. It's not about being reckless or impulsive.
Right. It's about doing your research, understanding the potential downsides, and then making informed decisions.
And that preparation we talked about earlier, that foundation of knowledge and skills, that plays a huge role in making sure those calculated risks are more likely to pay off.
So we've laid out this foundation of personal effort. But now here's where things get really interesting and potentially a bit uncomfortable.
Oh, why is that?
Because we're going to talk about the role of luck. The source dedicates a whole section to what it calls the unexpected factor, luck. And I think, honestly, a lot of us struggle with acknowledging how much luck can influence our lives.
It can almost feel like admitting that our achievements aren't entirely our own doing.
Right. We want to believe that it's all about hard work, talent, perseverance. But the article makes a compelling case that luck can play a significant role.
Those chance encounters, the unexpected opportunities that seem to come out of nowhere, just being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. And while you can't control when those moments happen, the source emphasizes that you can increase your chances of encountering them.
By being prepared, having those diverse skills and that open mindset, constantly putting yourself out there and seeking new experiences.
It's like you're making yourself a bigger target for serendipity. You're more likely to recognize those lucky breaks when they do appear.
And you're more likely to be equipped to seize them.
Right. And speaking of putting yourself out there, the article really emphasizes the importance of networking.
Yeah, building strong connections, expanding your professional and social circles.
It argues that in today's world, your network is just as valuable a resource as your skills and knowledge.
Think about how many opportunities come through word of mouth, through referrals, through simply knowing the right people.
It can open doors that you might not even know existed. And it's not just about professional connections. The source also highlights the importance of mentors.
Having people who can offer guidance, share their experiences, provide valuable advice, and just as importantly, offer support during those tough times.
Right, that emotional support can be so crucial when you're facing challenges or setbacks. It can really help you stay motivated and keep pushing forward.
It's a reminder that success is rarely a solo journey. We all need that support system to help us navigate the complexities of life and work.
Now let's zoom out even further because the article also examines the impact of the broader environment, this socioeconomic and cultural context in which you live and work.
And this is where things can get a bit more nuanced and potentially sensitive.
Right, because the source points out that not everyone starts on a level playing field. Your background, your access to quality education, reliable infrastructure, even just basic resources. These can all create advantages or disadvantages that have little to do with your individual effort or talent.
It's a reminder that success is shaped not just by individual actions, but also by systemic factors, things that are often beyond your control.
And the article argues that public policies and the structures of our institutions play a huge role in creating a more equitable environment.
Investing in education, promoting entrepreneurship, ensuring access to opportunities for everyone.
These broader societal factors can really influence who has the chance to succeed in the first place.
And how easy or difficult that journey might be.
Okay, so we've looked at these two seemingly separate sides. The power of your individual effort and the influence of these external factors, these elements that are often beyond your control. So how do we bring this all together?
Well, the source argues that success emerges from the interaction of these internal and external forces.
It's not an either situation. It's not just hard work or just luck. It's the complex interplay between the two.
Your effort, your preparation, those are the levers you can control. But luck, circumstances, those are often the wild cards.
And the article suggests that accepting this inherent unpredictability, cultivating humility and gratitude, that can actually be incredibly freeing.
It allows you to focus your energy on what you can control, on making the most of every opportunity, while also acknowledging that sometimes things are simply outside your sphere of influence.
And the source also delves into the psychological impact of understanding this interplay between effort and external factors. It argues that acknowledging the role of luck and circumstance can actually help you manage frustration.
When things don't go your way, it can help you remember that not every outcome is solely determined by your actions.
And it can also help you appreciate your successes even more, knowing that they weren't just about you, that there were other forces at play that contributed to your achievements.
It can also bolster your self-esteem. When you understand that failures aren't necessarily a reflection of your worth or your abilities, it can make it easier to pick yourself up and keep going.
Right. And finally, the article touches on some really interesting philosophical and ethical considerations. It emphasizes the importance of focusing on the journey itself, the choices you make, the integrity you maintain, the lessons you learn along the way.
It's not just about reaching the destination, it's about how you get there.
And it also encourages you to find that balance between having ambitious goals and maintaining a realistic understanding of the factors that are beyond your control.
Because when you acknowledge those limits, it can actually make you more resilient and more grateful for the opportunities that do come your way.
So to sum it all up, our deep dive into La paradoja del éxito es suerte, o trabajo duro, reveals that success is not a simple equation. It's a multifaceted, dynamic process.
It's a fascinating dance between your own dedication, preparation, and resilience, and the often unseen influence of luck, your network, and the broader socioeconomic context.
So for you, our listener, here's a final thought to ponder. How might understanding this complex interplay between effort and external factors shift your perspective on your own successes and challenges? How might it empower you to navigate your own path with a greater sense of clarity, purpose, and maybe even a little bit of grace?
And how can you position yourself to be more aware of and open to those lucky breaks, while also acknowledging that some things are simply outside your sphere of influence?
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.